The boardroom went silent when Elizabeth Carter's voice cracked. She stood at the head of the long glass table, the city lights glowing behind her like a crown she no longer felt worthy to wear. "I need a baby," the CEO said, her hands trembling as she gripped the chair. "Or I lose everything." The men and women around her exchanged uneasy glances. To them, it sounded absurd. To Elizabeth, it was a death sentence written into a contract she had signed years ago without imagining this moment would ever come. Elizabeth Carter had built Carter & Company from nothing. After her husband Daniel died in a car accident 12 years earlier, she poured her grief into work. Sleepless nights became her comfort, success her shield against loneliness. Investors trusted her brilliance, but the founding family of the corporation had one condition buried deep in the agreement. The company must remain under a family-led legacy. At 52, unmarried and childless, Elizabeth had reached the deadline. If she did not present an heir by the end of the quarter, the board would force her out, and the company would be sold piece by piece. Her life's work would vanish. Doctors had been honest. Adoption would take years she didn't have. Surrogacy required legal approvals that wouldn't move fast enough. Her options were running out, and desperation had a way of pushing pride aside. That was when her lawyer quietly mentioned a man named Michael Reed. Michael Reed was everything Elizabeth was not. He lived in a modest neighborhood on the edge of town, in a small house filled with laughter and grief in equal measure. A single father of two, Michael had lost his wife, Sarah, to cancer 4 years earlier. He worked nights as a hospital orderly and days as a part-time EMT, barely sleeping but always showing up. His children, Noah and Lily, were his world. Every decision he made was filtered through one question: would this protect them? Elizabeth first saw Michael not in a suit or a meeting, but in. "Emily," he said quietly, holding the paper between his fingers. "You left this." Her face drained of color. For a moment, David thought she might run. Instead, she swallowed and nodded. "I'm sorry," she said. "I didn't know how else to tell you." "Tell me what?" David asked. She glanced around, then leaned closer. "That steak," she whispered. "It's from yesterday." David blinked. "Yesterday?" "We had a power outage last night," she said. "The fridge went down for hours. The owner told us to serve everything anyway. Said we couldn't afford the loss." Her voice cracked. "I've seen people get sick. I couldn't let it happen again." David looked back at the plate on the table, the steam still rising. He felt a cold wave roll through him, not fear for himself, but something deeper. Betrayal. Not just by the diner, but by a system that forced a young woman to choose between her job and someone else's safety. "Why tell me?" he asked. Emily hesitated. "Because I saw you counting your money before you ordered. Because you look like someone who can't afford a hospital bill. And because I know what it's like." David's throat tightened. "What do you mean?" "My dad," she said softly. "He raised me alone after my mom died. Worked himself sick just to keep us fed. People took advantage of him because he was desperate." Her eyes met David's. "I couldn't be part of that." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The diner noise rushed back in. Plates clinking, a baby crying, the bell over the door ringing. David pushed the plate away. "Thank you," he said finally. "You did the right thing." She nodded, but fear still lingered on her face. "If my boss finds out." "He won't," David said. "Not like this." David returned to his booth, but he didn't sit. He watched. The owner, a heavy-set man named Frank, laughed with a regular, completely unconcerned. David felt anger rise, but he forced it down. This wasn't about revenge. It was about responsibility. He paid for the meal anyway, leaving.